over um I just read over the consultation form.
Hmm.
Um, what makes Nino aggressive?
You know, honestly, like when she's outside walking him, now that he's a little bit older, when he walks past people, he just lets them go by. But it used to be, he would bark at anybody he didn't know.
Okay. Did has he ever attempted to try to bite anybody?
The only person so far that he's bitten is Taylor. He bit her, and I guess that was her fault because she was trying to take something from him.
Oh,
And
sure.
yeah, and he, kind of bit down on her, and like and she had two puncture wounds
Oh,
on her wrist.
okay. And how long ago was this?
Um, it hasn't been a complete month yet.
Oh, so that's recent then.
Yeah.
Sure. Um, and how old is Nino? It's Nino, right?
Yeah.
How old is he?
September, October, November, December. He is a year and 3 months now.
Okay.
Yeah, he was born September 18th, I believe it is, of last year.
And he's a pit lab mix.
Yes.
Okay. Is he social with dogs or no?
He hasn't been around other dogs.
Okay. Because of COVID and everything, or just in general?
Just in general, there's a dog, a little pit that lives next door, but they keep her on one side of the gate, and he's on the other side, and they just bark at each other, but that's it.
Okay. Um, what does she? Does she walk him on a harness?
She does. She does. And she has to walk him. I can't because he's kind of strong and he pulls. And every time he pulls when I'm walking with him, I'll stop to make him stop. And then he turns around and looks at me like, "What are you doing?"
Mm,
But then he starts to pull again once we start walking. I can't walk him.
okay.
I have a bad hip, and the last thing I want is to be pulled down outside.
Correct. Has he always been walked on a harness?
I'm sorry?
Has he always been walked on a harness?
Yes.
Okay. Um, and you guys have had him since he was a puppy?
Yes.
2 months?
Yeah. He was about 2 months.
Um, so he bit Taylor once because she was trying to remove something from him. Uh, has she removed or taken stuff from him before, or that was the first time?
Oh, no, she has, but I guess that was something he really wanted because he
Yeah,
normally doesn't do that.
was it something new?
No,
Hmm.
no.
Mm. Has she tried to remove anything from him since?
Yeah, and I mean, he just barks and jumps, but he, doesn't take anything. But another thing that she does that I've noticed, like a few minutes ago, he took my face mask. I had a glitter face mask. He took that and ran. And I called him back and he stopped and he just looked at me. I'm like, bring it back. And he walked to me. But when I was reaching for it, he would turn his head
Hmm.
and I'm like, I don't want to play right now. Just give it back.
Hmm.
And he wouldn't,
Hmm.
so I just let it go. And then he dropped it because I wasn't interested in it
Sure.
anymore.
Yeah.
So, but she'll exchange things. Like if
Okay.
he'll take something, then she'll call him, here, take this, and I'm like, you can't do that because whenever he really wants something, that's what he's going to do. He's going to grab something else, let you see that he has it, and then run off because he knows you're going to exchange whatever he wants for it.
Yeah.
He's smart. He really is.
No. Yeah. Dogs learn patterns pretty quick.
Yeah.
Um. Okay. And then how'd you find us? Or yeah, who did that?
Um, it's kind of odd actually because one of my coworkers said that she saw um, a guy walking with his pit off the leash, And she said she asked him, where did he go? And he said Canine Perspectives.
Mm.
And before I got a chance to tell my daughter about your company, she had contacted someone else. I don't remember who, but they came to the house to do a consultation.
Mhm.
And then they suggested Canine Perspectives because, right, she said, yeah, that Nino is kind of aggressive, I guess, or
Okay.
overly energetic.
Yeah.
And she
Overstimulated.
said that that's what you guys specialize with.
Yeah. That's for sure. Oh, nice. That's a coincidence.
Isn't it? So I told her, I was like, you absolutely have to call them. That's two separate recommendations.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's good that the trainer actually told you to go somewhere else because a lot of trainers, uh, they don't have the skill set, will try to do it.
Hmm.
They take your money, and then it's like, okay, just keep working at it, and then you're left like where you started.
Right,
So that's
right.
actually good that they, were like, this is not my specialty. You should go here. So that's nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so, did you guys do any research after being referred to us, like on how we train and just our approach and everything?
Actually, Taylor did.
Okay.
She did. Honestly, I didn't because again, he's hers. He's her baby, and I tried to let her sort of raise her dog. I
Sure.
let her be the pet parent, and I know she did research, but as far as myself, I didn't.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And it's okay. I'll fill you in on all that stuff. How old is Taylor?
Taylor is 23.
Okay. Um, and whose idea was it for Nino? Like, who wanted so Taylor wanted the dog, or
She did. She begged for a dog since she was maybe 12.
okay,
And then last year for her birthday, that's what she got. She got a dog.
okay,
And she was just like over the moon,
hmm
to have him. But I think he was a little bit more than what she bargained for,
mm.
you know.
Yeah. And how much does he weigh?
I want to say he's about 60 pounds.
He's a big boy.
He is. If you can you see him? He's right here on the floor chewing on his bone.
Oh yeah, he's pretty solid.
He is.
Yeah.
He is.
Okay. Um, let me think if there's anything else here. Uh, how did Taylor feel about the whole like the bite on her hand and everything?
Well, honestly, she was upset, and I don't know, she just cried. She called me, and I'm like, what's going on? And I come running out of the room because she screamed and she called my name, and it was just like blood running off her hand. And I'm like, well, we have to do something. You've got to get him trained because we have tenants that live upstairs, and the daughter is terrified of him.
Okay.
The mom is afraid, and I don't want him to. He has a bad habit of running and jumping on people,
hmm
and I push him down, but he's more than half my height, you
hmm
know. So jumping on me is like one thing, but then jumping on the tenants is another.
Sure.
And they are deathly afraid of him. Like, yeah. So it's like I don't know. I don't know. Nino just needs training, and honestly, his doctor suggested that we get him neutered,
Mm.
but Taylor, she didn't want to do that.
Why?
Honestly, I wish I knew.
Okay.
Because the doctor did say it would take away some of his aggression.
hmm
It would calm him down some. And she said they can do it where aesthetically he's still intact, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. But Taylor didn't. She didn't want to do it, and I don't know why.
Okay. So when it comes to neutering, I would suggest it. I will talk to Taylor about that. Um, because the need to mate, you know, like it's a need.
Yeah.
It has to happen, or
Okay.
it's going to be frustration, which is going to lead to more issues. Okay.
Okay.
So unless she's going to provide him, you know, at least 2 times a year with that outlet, like it's going to be a problem.
Okay.
Now, it has nothing to do with aggressive behaviors. Like neutering a dog does not help aggression.
Okay.
It helps testosterone fueled behaviors.
Okay.
The I know the vet said that it's a very common thought process in the vet world. As a trainer of 10 years, I've never seen neutering directly affect aggression.
Okay.
Okay. And I've had plenty of clients on a consultation tell me our dog was aggressive or is aggressive. Our vet said to neuter the dog. We neutered the dog. Nothing changed.
Okay.
So like marking the need to mate,
Mhm.
you know, any kind of testosterone based behavior will be affected because testosterone is made in the testes.
And she's here. He just jumped and ran to the door, so I know she's here.
Sure. Now, is she going to be on your phone as well, or is she going to jump on her own phone?
She can be on this one. It's fine.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah. Can you see? I want you to see how he acts when she comes home.
Sure.
Turn the light on, Taylor. And see, he doesn't listen. Off, Nino. Nino, off. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. He's excited to see her, but he should be. I don't know. I personally think that it should be when I say off or down or stop, then you should do that.
Sure. Huh. Yeah, he's a pretty solid dog there.
He is, and he's tall. You know, I'm short. I'm only 5 feet.
He's pretty tall. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm only 5 feet, and he comes to like my chest.
Yeah.
When he stands up.
Gotcha.
Nino. Off. Okay.
So we'll let Taylor get settled, and then we'll pick up again.
Okay. Oh, Santa Claus hat. Yeah. Off, Nino. Nino, off. Get your bone, Nino. Nino, get your bone. Okay. A few scratches behind the ears. Okay, sit. Nino, stop. Nino. You wanna go outside? Nino. Say hello, Taylor. Hello.
Hi, Taylor.
Nino.
He's a lab pit mix?
Yes.
And he looks all, from what I can see, he looks all pit.
Well, you know, the mom is half and half. The dad is one of her puppies. So, and his dad is full pit.
Okay, so he's like 3/4 pit or something.
Yeah.
I was gonna say he looks like a pretty solid pit from what I can see here, in terms of the face and the size of the head and everything. I mean, it's nothing good or bad. I'm just looking at him like I don't see lab, for at least from what I can see here.
Yeah, you're right. He's about 3/4 because he's got lab fur. Nino, sit. Good boy.
All right. So we were just your mom was just giving me a run through of like just Nino and his behavior.
Hmm.
Just regarding like his overexcitement. The stuff like the jumping here, it's pretty standard stuff. I see it all the time. We talked about the resource guarding. It happened like a month ago, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
when you get the rest.
Um, and then, that he's unneutered, right? Now, do you plan on getting him neutered?
I was trying to wait till at least like he was at least like 2,
Okay.
because I read up that like within like a year or 2 they're still developing like when they're younger. So like they were saying it's better to wait till they're at least like a year or 2
Mhm.
before you get neutered. So I was kind of like trying to wait it out a little bit.
Okay. So when it comes to the neutering, um, I've had people neuter their dogs. Like most people neuter around 6 months,
Hmm.
and the dogs grow up just fine. There's even places that neuter dogs as long as they weigh at least, I believe, 5 pounds, and they grow up to be just
Mhm.
fine. It's personal preference,
Okay.
but my suggestion is if he's older than 6 months, do 'em. Because you're gonna be. I was telling your mom that behaviorally there's going to be more issues
Mhm.
to work through than if you were to just neuter him.
Okay.
The neutering would not help any kind of aggressive behaviors. That's completely different. Because I think the vet said that the neutering would help calm down any aggressive behaviors or whatever, or calm them down in general. That's not really the case. I've been doing this for 10 years, and I've had people, same thing. Their vet said neuter the dog, it'll calm them down or stop the aggression, and it does nothing.
Hmm.
Right? Neutering will help any testosterone-based behaviors.
Okay.
So like mounting, the need to mate or replicate, marking, all those kinds of behaviors will go away, but it'll also just help prevent frustration.
Okay.
Right? The frustration essentially from the need of needing to mate.
Hmm.
And I've had in the past year like 5 dogs, male dogs that were unneutered, and I had the owners neuter the dogs because the dogs were so frustrated because they weren't mating, and it settled that down.
Hmm.
But behaviorally with aggressive type stuff, it doesn't help. Okay. So up to you if you want to wait till 2 years. My suggestion is he's already over 6 months. I just neuter him. If otherwise you risk more of a behavior problem than the whole growing thing. He's a solid dog. He's
Okay. Yeah.
like you don't need him to get any bigger.
Right.
What are your goals here with Nino?
To make him listen. Right. To make him listen and just like basically like obedience, really.
Okay. And where would you use the obedience? Where would that come into play for you?
What was that? I'm sorry.
Where would the obedience? How would you apply that? How does that make your life with Nino better?
Well, we'll be able to like leave him out more, we'll instead of just like, putting him in the room or in his cage, he'll be able to stay out with like, we'll know that he'll be able to like be left alone without like tearing up the house or anything or getting into everything. And also just like, not trying to like, bark at people and like, try to attack them when like we're walking or,
Okay.
anything like
So
that.
you're walking Nino, right?
Hmm.
Someone is walking on the same side of the sidewalk as you,
Hmm.
and what's he do?
So he tries to like pull towards him, like try to sniff him and get close to him. And he kind of like he'll growl at a couple people, but he won't really like lunge or anything towards him. He'll just try to pull in that direction and try to get as close to him as he can.
But he's trying to sniff them.
Hmm.
Okay. So what gives you the impression, or is it just like maybe the wrong word when you say like trying to attack someone?
Well, so a couple months ago, like we live in a two flat, so we have neighbors upstairs,
Mhm,
and they're scared of him. So I guess Nino knows that,
mhm,
and so I was walking them, and then they were coming out of the house and going to their car,
mhm,
and he pulled and like I lost control of his leash, and he went and like tried to jump in their car and was like standing there barking at them as they were like getting into their car.
mhm,
So he was like standing on like their car door,
mhm.
trying to like bark at them and get into the car.
Gotcha.
And then like our neighbor, like our next door neighbor, they have trying to like nip at their dog like the gate. You can kind of see him like try to like through the gate, like try to bite him almost.
Mhm.
So like I was like, hmm? Oh. So yeah, I would like not really like attack, but he kind of like picks at the dog and try to like he doesn't really so when it's a girl dog. So she'll try to come and like sniff at him and like, play with him, but he won't give her a chance. He just sits there and like barks and like try to chase her through the gate and like, nip at her.
Okay. Um, you said if you leave him, he'll destroy the house. Is that correct?
Yes. So he'll
Like,
get into everything.
okay. Does he have a kennel?
Yeah.
He does. And do you use it or no?
Yes.
If you put him in the kennel, what happens?
So at night so we try to have him in the bed by like 10:30.
Okay.
And like so when I put him in the bed, he literally like fights and try to like bite me. But so then once he's in the cage, he'll like bark for a good 10 minutes before he like calms down and like lays down.
Gotcha. And then when you let him out in the morning, is he just like crazy again?
Yeah. So he's
Um,
pretty much like gets crazy whenever is let out of the cage. But
okay. Was he always like this, or have you noticed this just get worse as he's gotten older?
so he has always been like that, but it's just gotten worse as he got older.
Have you tried to discipline him at all?
Hmm?
Have you tried to discipline him at all?
Yeah, so we have like rolled up newspapers and magazines that we use. Stop, Nino. Stop, Nino. And he'll basically like try to snatch it out of your hand and like run off with it. Nino.
Gotcha. And what do you to like use it to like bop him on the nose or spank him or what?
Yeah, we try to spank him, but we don't really hit his nose.
Okay. Um,
Stop.
what does Nino's life look like with you? Like, you walk him an hour a day? Is he inside all day?
So he's mostly inside all day because we all work during the day.
Mhm,
So he's usually
Nino.
like I'll get up around like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning and he'll be outside for like a good 20 minutes. And
mhm.
then he'll be in the cage probably until like 6, 7 o'clock at night. And then he'll get let out around like noon
Mhm.
for like maybe 20 minutes. So he'll be let out during like the afternoon for like 20 minutes
Mhm.
and then back in the cage. Well, he's not fully out of the cage until like 6, 7 o'clock.
At night?
Hmm.
Okay, and then he goes back in at 10:30?
Yeah, like around 10:30.
Okay, so like 3.5 to 4.5 hours he's free, and then the rest of the time he's kenneled, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Off, Nino.
And then what's your schedule and your mom's schedule like? Is it like you work 9 to 5 or?
Pretty much 7:45 to 5:30. And my schedule is it pretty much depends on the day. So I'm like between like 9:30 to 7.
Okay. Um, Anything else about Nino that I should know?
What was you saying?
If you tired and doesn't listen.
I think he knows that already.
Um, no, Nino, he's really smart, and it doesn't take a lot to train him. It's just it's just that I think Nino thinks he's the alpha.
Mhm,
He does what he wants to, pretty much.
mhm,
And if you're doing something and he can't see you or
mhm,
see what you're doing, then he'll run like until he can see what you're doing.
mhm.
Like, who told you to do that? Like, you're the dog. You're
Sure,
not supposed to ask me anything.
Come here, Nino.
sure. And what's
Yeah,
he barking at now?
my son.
Okay.
You just squirting with
Yeah,
water.
whenever somebody comes in the door,
Mhm,
he don't no. Whenever somebody comes in the door, he runs and jumps on them. He jumps on them, and it honestly, I hate coming in the house sometimes, especially if I have food with me,
mhm,
because, like I said, I'm the shortest thing in the house, and he, excuse my language, but damn near pushes me down to the floor.
mhm,
It's been a few times that I've actually lost my balance and fallen into the wall or a chair or something,
mhm.
and that I don't like.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I mean, I've had dogs break people's wrists and ankles and shoulders and hips and knees and elbows.
Yeah,
It's a very real thing.
it
Uh,
is. And
okay.
I just feel like if he were more obedient and if he like when you give him a command, if he actually followed that command, then it wouldn't be that much of an issue.
Sure.
You know, I want him to not be distracted by everything else. Like if you tell him to stop, then he should stop. I don't know if I feel like that because that's how I raise my children,
Sure.
you know, but it's like, I don't know, like, what do you do?
Right.
Like when you were on the phone talking to Taylor, I actually had to take him and lay next to him, and I'm like scratching behind his ears to calm him down.
Mhm.
He jumped up and bit the back of my arm. It didn't hurt, like,
Right.
he didn't
He
draw
was
blood or
demanding
anything.
attention. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
So um, the issue is relatively simple, but there's some things that are make it a little bit complex. Okay.
okay.
Obedience isn't really the problem here. Okay.
Okay.
Now, obedience is a part of it. It's a small part of it. Okay. But I think you're gonna understand this pretty easy considering that you're a mom. Okay. Think think of obedience as education and
Hmm.
think of behavior as morality. Okay.
Okay.
So you can have, your child could be brilliant in math, excel at school, top student, but be a bad person, right?
Okay.
And your child could be not the brightest person, but the nicest person, right?
Hmm.
They don't affect each other.
Okay.
So obedience has nothing to do with the barking or the biting at you for attention or the overexcitement or the jumping and stuff. Because
Hmm.
let's say you did say sit and Nino did sit, right? But
Okay.
the moment you release him from the sit, he's going to go back
Mm.
and do the behavior again because nothing told him not to do that.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the easy part is no jumping, no
Okay.
barking, no biting, right? All of that is simply you don't do that. So I was raised old school. I was
Okay.
spanked. Okay.
Yes.
So if I talk back to my mom, if I didn't do my homework, if I didn't clean my room, if I left without permission, if I stayed up too late, I got a spanking for everything.
Okay.
Right? One consequence for a multitude of behaviors.
Okay.
So for Nino, if he did something to another dog that they didn't like, that dog would bite Nino.
Hmm.
And that bite is their version of spanking.
Okay.
You do this, this is the consequence. And then Nino has the chance to either respect that bite or go against that bite. and fight back.
Okay.
Okay. So here, that's the easy part. Okay. Is you really just want to stop things. When I come in, don't jump on me. I don't care what you do, but don't jump on me. Right.
Right.
If someone enters, don't bark at them. I don't care what you do, but don't bark at them. Right.
Mhm.
It's really just finding a way to spank Nino that he respects. That's why I asked about the newspaper.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to a newspaper. I'm not someone who's going to tell you, oh my God, that's abusive. Okay.
Mhm.
Because dogs bite each other.
They
Right.
do.
So like this here is a dog bite.
Ooh.
Okay. That's a dog bite. That's
Ooh.
10 stitches.
Wow.
So actually with Taylor, right, when she went to take Nino's bone or whatever that object was, for whatever reason on that particular time, he said, you're not going to take this from me and I'm going to teach you a lesson.
Okay.
Right. So the newspaper, I'm not opposed to, because it's a newspaper. You're not going to kill your dog with a newspaper. Okay. But what I didn't like
Right.
was that Nino wasn't respecting the consequence. Because Taylor said when you try to discipline him, he'll bite the newspaper and take it or whatever. Right. So that's like
Right.
me. If my mom spanked me and I just took the belt and ran away with it.
Yeah.
Clearly, there's no respect for the discipline there. Right.
Right.
Because I blatantly just like, nope, we're not going to do that. Here I go. So, what's never happened, by the way, my mom got me pretty good.
Well, I can imagine you're still here. So.
Yeah, I'm still alive, right? So yeah, so physicality is healthy, but it has to be in a manner that Nino would respect and understand. That's why you're stuck. You're technically on the right track because you're applying an aversive to deter behavior. Just wasn't enough for Nino, or maybe it wasn't done correctly, that he decided, like, he didn't decide, like, oh, I should change my behavior because I don't like this. Okay.
Okay.
That's what aversives are meant for. So the obedience, the way that would come into play is like, for instance, the walking him on a leash and stuff and the pulling and barking at people. It's simple in the sense that we would correct, you don't bark at people, right? But walking the dog on a harness actually makes the problem worse.
Really?
Yes. Okay. So the problem that Nino has is he's undisciplined. Not that you didn't try. He's undisciplined, and he's overstimulated, and he's frustrated. Right? The bite to Taylor's hand is separate. That's resource guarding. That's its own problem. Okay. Everything else, him destroying the house when you're gone, the jumping on people, the barking when he gets too excited, the biting your arm to get attention, the barking at people when they walk on a leash, all that stuff is him overstimulated. Okay, he's overexcited all the time.
Okay.
So he's frustrated. Okay, I see this all the time with puppies, all the time. Okay.
Okay.
So the way I would approach this is, I believe you said Taylor did research on me, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. Do you know how I train Taylor? What tools I use?
It was like a prong, like neck collar.
Yeah, I use a prong collar and what's called an e-collar. Okay.
Stop.
So
Nino.
the e-collar, people more commonly refer to as a shock collar. Okay. It's not a shock. It's not electricity. Okay. The word shock makes people think that, which is why people use that word, because they don't want people to use this tool. Okay. Have any of you been to a chiropractor or a physical therapist?
I have. I've been to a physical therapist.
Did you have STIM, the machine that moves your muscles?
No, that I didn't have.
Okay. Are you familiar with that device?
Yes.
Okay. That's an e-collar.
Okay. Okay.
So they use it on humans.
Okay.
So you can literally go to Walgreens and you go in the back section and you'll see what's called a TENS unit, TENS.
Yeah.
It moves the back muscles to relax them or alleviate back pain. It's the same technology.
Okay.
But people, they think they're electrocuting their dog.
Okay.
That's incorrect. Okay.
Okay. I did buy a prong collar for him, but Taylor doesn't use it.
Okay. And then when it comes to the prong collar, like I had to take a look at it because
Okay.
there's so many options and most of them, like 95% of them aren't good.
Okay.
So I would recommend a size and a brand for you. They're not expensive. They run $25 to $35.
Yeah.
However, many people have problems with the prong collar. So do you know how a prong collar is meant to be used?
From yeah, Nino. Okay, so from what I saw on YouTube, it's supposed to go around here and not down.
Correct.
And when you pull, it's just to like get their attention and let them. You don't pull like hard to hurt them, but just to correct whatever action they're doing that you don't approve of.
Okay. So that's a yes or no answer.
Okay.
Okay. So how do dogs correct each other?
They bite each other.
They bite each other. Okay. And this is what's tricky in the human world is because we have this concept of hurt, right? Like if I call someone a negative word, I can hurt them emotionally.
Right.
Or I can decide to go up to a person, just punch them for no reason and physically hurt them, right? Spanking hurt, but the intention was not to hurt. You see that?
Yeah.
So a prong collar, when you said, you're supposed to use it to get their attention and not hurt them. But if Nino's doing something negative and you tug on it gently, he's not going to stop.
Okay.
So yes, you have to use it to a degree where there's a level of discomfort.
Okay.
To deter the behavior from happening again. Okay.
Okay.
Now the problem with prong collar is that if the dog is too physically tough, it won't work.
Okay.
Okay, because a prong collar, and the prong collar is meant to mimic a dog bite. That's why it looks the way it looks. Right?
Oh.
People always think like, oh, that's like a torture device. Like, no, it's meant to be like teeth.
Okay.
And that's where the theory of prong collar came from. So if Nino were to jump on me, I would grab the prong collar and pop it pretty firmly to apply negative for the behavior of jumping on me.
Okay.
That's like the human version of spanking the dog.
Okay.
But if Nino is too tough physically because he's meant to be bitten, the collar won't do anything.
Okay.
He's too tough. And this happens quite a bit, especially with power breeds. Okay.
Okay.
With the e-collar, it's a muscle contraction. Okay.
Okay.
And the higher you go, the more uncomfortable it becomes. But it's the one tool that essentially guarantees, as close to 100% as possible, that I can stop the behavior no matter the size of the dog.
Okay.
Right? Because even if he's too tough for the e-collar, I can keep, I'm sorry, not the e-collar, the prong collar, I can keep increasing the power of the e-collar until I find the number that he does not like.
Okay.
Right? And it doesn't matter how tall you are. It doesn't matter how strong you are. It doesn't matter if you're a male or a female. Because if I touch the button at 85 and you touch the button at 85, it's the same.
Okay.
Okay. So all the dogs that I train older than 6 months, I train on e-collar.
Okay.
Because it's the one tool that gets me as close to 100% as possible.
Okay.
Prong collar, you're in that 40 to 60% range if it works.
Okay.
Every other method, less than 10%.
Oh wow.
So people always argue like, why would you use the e-collar? I'm like, why wouldn't I? It's the one tool that guarantees me as close to 100% as possible.
Right.
At the press of a button. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
And the e-collar is more expensive, but it's when I train people's dogs, like I train them and we're done.
Okay.
Like other trainers, they train your dog and then you come back and then you come back and then you come back. Right. And then I go like, why would you keep going back if it didn't work the first time? Right. And
That's
you're talking
true.
to someone who's trained many other trainers' ex-client dogs because it doesn't work.
Okay.
So this is why if you look at on my YouTube channel, like we have videos of us training dogs, uncut, unedited, and we're trying to educate people like this is the most effective tool. Watch, essentially. Okay. So in your case here, we want him to listen, right? Obedience wise, which is the
Yeah.
simplest thing. Okay. Teaching a dog to do something is simple. Teaching a dog to behave is different. Okay.
Okay.
The way I would approach this case, and this is where things get a little bit tough because you guys seem to have pretty long work days,
We do.
right? Is he's in a kennel what sounds like 2/3 of the day, 3/4 of the day,
Yeah.
is that can build a lot of frustration.
Okay.
Is it's not just train the dog and make them compliant. Like I am a big advocate of that. Like just make the dog do it.
Mm-hmm.
But when I come in and it's like, yeah, the dog's kenneled for 16 hours out the day and only 8 hours, or not actually less than that, but by like 4 to 5 hours, right? He's
Yeah.
free. I'm like, man, there's not a lot of activity there. There's not a lot of exercise. This is a dog that's going to be, in my opinion, potentially uh, frustrated all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So then, if the training was done, it would be the training, but then you also have to exercise your dog. Okay.
Okay.
At least an hour a day.
Okay.
20 minutes, because you got to think that he's meant to hunt things, right? He's meant to like be out. He's not meant to be in a home. He's meant to be in a kennel. That's a part of owning a dog now. But if he was, dogs aren't even meant to exist. That's something that we've made, right? We caught wolves and coyote and dingoes that we could get close to and domesticated them and then
Right.
progressively made dogs.
Right.
Is he's meant for a lot more activity. So even an hour a day to a lot of dogs isn't a lot. But
Okay.
if they're not, most dogs aren't kenneled for that much time out the day. Now I
Okay.
understand why you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I understand why you're doing it because we don't want the dog to be destructive, right?
Right.
But then it kind of creates this whole like feedback loop where it's like you're not going to get anywhere. You're just kind of stuck in the cycle. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I would see this kind of, I'm trying to, give you the answer that's going to allow you to keep Nino in the home. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is I don't believe Nino to be an aggressive dog.
Okay.
He's a
It's
frustrated dog.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And dogs alleviate frustration through their mouths.
Okay.
Barking, chewing, licking, biting, salivating, howling, nipping, right? It's all mouth related. So like earlier when you said like he bit my arm, not hard, but like he bit it and then I had to pet him to like soothe him.
Yeah.
Is he just told you what to do. And he used physicality and then you rewarded it by touching him.
Okay.
So now you're reinforcing that behavior.
Okay.
When another dog would just bite him. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would do here is one, teach you how to correctly stop all these negative behaviors. And they're not negative, like he's a dog, but they're just not acceptable when he lives with other humans.
Okay.
That's gonna be that's gonna be the one thing that's gonna just stop a lot of stuff. Because it doesn't matter if he knows how to sit, it doesn't matter if he knows how to lay down or stay or give paw. It's just you don't do this stuff. Okay. So that's the easiest thing. The second thing would be overnight, I would, as soon as we get him far enough, stop kenneling him overnight.
Okay.
Is there any reason why he is kenneled overnight?
Not really. Yeah, no, because they're in her room, so the only thing he pretty much do is probably jump in the bed with her.
Okay. And how does Taylor feel about that?
Well, I mean,
Oh.
I don't have an issue with it. Just like a couple days ago, he did pee in my bed. Like he jumped up and like peed in the bed.
Was this at night or was this during the day?
This was, I think, at night.
It was.
Yeah, I think he just came from outside and then he like jumped on the bed and like peed in my bed. So, because I mean, I used to let him like lay in my bed like right after I let him out in the morning. Right before I left for school, I used to let him just lay in the bed until I got ready to go.
Okay,
Then I would put him in like the kennel and then leave.
gotcha. Has he done that before?
What?
Pee in your bed?
Like once before. This is like the second time he's done that.
Okay. Recently or like a while ago?
A while ago.
Okay.
Like this was like before he made a year. So
Hey, is he potty trained?
yes.
Okay. That might potentially be marking. Okay. So if it is marking behavior,
Mhm.
then the neutering helps. So if
Okay.
that was marking, the neutering may
Peed on my
potentially
back.
help that. Okay.
Okay.
But also he doesn't need to sleep in your bed. You don't need to have him on your bed. Okay.
Okay.
I'm just trying to reduce the amount of time he's in the kennel. So that
Right.
like most people kennel their dogs 9 to 5. That's pretty
Mhm.
normal. Okay.
Mhm.
Is that I think it'll help make them less frustrated. Okay.
Okay.
You don't have to start that now. Don't start that now. You would start this post the training.
Okay.
Okay. Because we need to balance out that time because you know if he's only loose for 4 to 5 hours, like he's gonna be frustrated all the time.
Mhm.
Okay. The next thing we would do is formal obedience. The main thing that he needs to learn
Okay, so what?
is how to walk on a leash appropriately.
Mhm.
Okay. Walking on a leash correctly will fix a majority of the problems you're dealing
Stop.
with. Barking at people on the street and stuff, all of that would technically be fixed by the
Sit.
walking on the leash stuff.
Okay.
Okay. I don't think your dog is aggressive. I just think it's frustrated.
Sit down. Sit.
Who is he barking at there?
Me.
For
He
attention?
barked at me. He wanted to play, and I didn't want to.
Yeah. So all that's just, you know, he's being demanding and he's frustrated. So he's just barking. So you how do you say? So you reinforce that. Okay.
Mhm.
So all those problems in the house, they would technically be addressed by correcting them to stop the behaviors. But then teaching him how to walk correctly so that we can actually get him exercise.
Mhm.
Okay. Now winter is coming. Would you exercise Nino? Like, would you walk him? Like, it doesn't have to be a full solid hour, but could you do 20 minutes in the morning and in the afternoon and before bed?
Okay, I'm sorry. We can't hear you, and a call came through, and now I don't know how to increase the volume again.
Can you hear me now? Let me see.
No, I mean I can hear you a little, but it's let's see. Yeah, I don't know.
What about now?
No, it's still very low.
Try logging out and then coming back in again.
Okay. Okay. Better.
All right. Oh, so would you be able to exercise Nino? Like whoever, like he needs some kind of physical outlet.
Well, my son he's home, during the day.
Does he do anything with Nino?
Sometimes he has to go to work, but he works part-time.
Does he do anything with Nino?
He'll let him out. He doesn't like take him on a walk or anything, but he'll let him run around in the backyard for a little bit and then give him a little food and water, and that's about it.
Yeah, so Nino would need like to actually be walked.
Okay.
Right? At least an hour a day, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes is fine.
Okay.
Or a nice long hour walk, because he needs structure and some kind of outlet, because there's no outlet.
Yeah.
Right? There has to be something then that's why I was saying that things get complex, because I understand you have long days, right? And you come home and then it's like, do I really want to walk the dog for an hour?
Right.
Now, it can work a couple of ways, because once Nino gets trained, walking him would be enjoyable, because now you have control over your dog. So then a lot of people don't do anything with their dog, and then once they get trained, they do a lot with their dog because the dog's fun. The dog actually listens, right? But the other problem is we're approaching winter. So
Yeah.
realistically speaking, like, is anyone gonna be, even if like Taylor did 20 minutes and then your son did 20 minutes, like that would be better than like nothing, right? And there's no
Okay.
commitment to a full hour.
What do you think about what do you call the things that you walk on?
Treadmill?
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah, you can do that too. We have some here for the dogs that come to our daycare.
Okay.
But the treadmill that he would need is like $600. Yeah. Now you can pick up a human treadmill, and if you look on Craigslist and Facebook, you can get them for like $75 to $100.
Okay.
But they usually require someone to move them,
Right.
But I've seen them. The first two treadmills I ever had, I got for $100 and $125.
Okay.
They were human treadmills.
Okay.
But if you try to buy one off of Amazon or something, the one that I know that he would need runs about $600. Okay. But also they take up a lot of space, so just remember that too.
Yeah, well, I figure like there's room in the basement, so.
Sure. So that would be an outlet, right? But
right.
he would still need, at least he needs exposure. He needs to go
Right,
out.
outside. Absolutely.
Like you go crazy if you're inside the home all the time.
Right.
But at least like you could do 40 minutes on the treadmill and then 20 minutes, on an actual walk, whatever.
Okay.
So now in terms of Nino, the way I approach this is, some people want the dog completely trained, right?
Okay.
Like off leash trained and all the works. And some people go, I just want to fix the problem. Okay. Where do you fall? Do you want to just fix the problem, or do you want Nino completely trained?
Where do you want completely? Honestly, well, like I was saying, I think Nino is a very smart dog.
Okay.
And it's like, I don't think he would take a whole lot of training. I could be wrong, but sometimes training is more so for the people and not actually the animal.
Correct. Correct.
Taylor's completely trained. I don't think it'll take much for him though. Like you said, he's got a lot of pent up frustration because he doesn't get out much.
Right. So when it comes to training, when we talk about completely trained, everything that we do on the leash can technically be done off the leash.
Okay.
Okay, like walking him off leash, come when called off leash, lay down, don't move for 3 hours, right?
Okay.
That takes time, but that also is more costly.
Okay.
Okay. So to give you an example, a 12-week program where it's 1 day a week for 12 weeks
Mm-hmm.
to have a dog fully off leash trained, and again, you have to do the homework, right?
Right.
Is $16.75.
Okay.
Okay. Plus the cost of the e-collar, which is for the Nino size roughly around $325. So now you're $2,000 in.
Okay.
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 Now we cover everything, but you also have to just think realistically. If you're working most of the day, you only have a few hours to train,
Right.
right? Is how much are you going to be able to commit to the training? Okay.
Yeah.
So if you want Nino fully trained, you're looking at that price range.
Okay.
If you're looking to just stop or fix the problem, you're more around like the 1,200, 1,300-ish range.
Okay.
That's 6
Nino.
classes.
Nino. Sit down.
That's 6 classes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
And what I would do is I know I've dealt with cases like Nino all the time in my career. Okay. It's the most common problem. Is what I would focus on is 2 classes on leash walking. Okay. We'd have to, if you get a treadmill, we'd want to treadmill train them. It's not as easy as put the dog in the treadmill.
And
So
let him walk. Right.
you have to teach that, right? How to discipline Nino so that he actually stops being annoying. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 classes on come when I call you. Okay.
Okay.
So come when I call you is important in case Nino runs away.
Right.
Okay? The walking on the leash is important because this is what's going to stop the lunging and barking at people on the street. Okay.
Okay.
And it actually should help calm him down in the house as well.
Okay.
Okay. The treadmill training, of course, just so that we can get Nino some exercise.
Mm-hmm.
And then the knowing how to correct behaviors is simple because it's just don't do that. So once you
Okay.
understand how to correct Nino and stop things, it's just you don't do that. Okay. So I'm essentially teaching you how to spank Nino so that he understands.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you do the 6, I just focus on let's fix this problem so we can keep your dog. Okay. And let's say, in the future, come summer or something, it's like, hey, Nino's a joy now. We want to learn more.
Okay.
Then you can pay for another 6 classes. Okay.
Okay.
Now, the drawback here is it wouldn't be prorated. You would just pay $950 for 6 classes again. Okay. So you
Okay.
end up actually paying more money. However,
Yeah.
if Taylor is committed and she says, no, I want to train this dog, she can do the 12 program, get the reduced rate, do 6 classes now,
Okay.
and then wait till summer or whatever till the weather is nice, and then finish the next 6 classes.
Okay.
Okay. So it's a trade-off. It's either we do the 6 and you're fine, and then
Mm-hmm.
maybe you decide you want more, maybe you don't, or you say I'm going to commit to 12 because I want the discount. We'll do 6 now, and we'll do 6 later.
Okay.
I don't care what you do in the end. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've just done this long enough, and I know what it's like in the wintertime with training and everything. Is I'm trying to be realistic with you because I don't want you to throw out all this money and then it's like, holy crap, we didn't factor in that it's snowing and like polar vortex weather.
Right.
Plus the fact that you guys work a lot.
Yeah.
Okay? I understand, but and what's nice about e-collar, okay, is that it is straightforward. It's very simple. It progresses very quickly,
Mm-hmm.
but you do have to do the homework. Okay.
Okay.
And I just tell people you train as you go about your life with Nino. So every time Nino goes for a walk, he's got the collar, you're doing your training. Every time you're home and stuff with him, you can stop and reinforce things so that he learns to stop doing certain behaviors. Okay.
Okay.
The resource guarding, it's a problem. It's not the biggest problem from what I'm hearing so far. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've had them for essentially a year and there's only been 1 incident. Okay.
Right.
Now we can also approach that with the e-collar as well. Okay.
Okay.
And what we could also do is, instead of doing 2 classes for Come When I Call You, excuse me, we can do 2 classes on resource card. Okay.
Okay.
If you think it's that big of a problem.
I mean, that's not something that he does, all the time though.
Yeah, the concern is just that because there was punctures.
Right.
Okay, because I get dogs that'll snap at the owner, but they don't bite them.
Yeah.
He actually bit. Okay, that's the
Yeah.
concern. Now, if Taylor is always doing the trade-off method,
Mm-hmm.
That can help avoid the problem. But like,
Okay.
let's say one day he grabs something he shouldn't have, and you're trying to take it from him, and he guards it. Now we have a problem.
Okay.
Okay, so I leave it up to you. You just pay for me to like teach you stuff. You pick what you want me to teach you. Okay, there's the stuff that I know you absolutely need,
Mm-hmm.
and there's the stuff where I'm like, yeah, this is important. It's up to you what you want to do.
Okay.
Okay. Questions?
Do you have any? Sure. Oh, actually, I do. Well, Taylor said, when do we start?
Mhm.
But how do you accept payments? Is it like all at once? Do you do like half now, half later?
So Maria handles all the accounting stuff. In terms
Okay.
of payment, we do have a payment plan,
Okay.
right? So like, let's say you did 6, you would be invoiced for half. Okay. You do 2 classes, and before your 3rd class, you're invoiced again. Okay. And you can either pay the second
Okay.
half, or you can pay, half of what's left over. And then before your 5th class, you're invoiced again.
Okay.
So like, if it's $1,000,
Okay.
just make it simple. It would be 500 down. Before your 3rd class,
Mm-hmm.
250, and before the 5th class, 250. Okay. And your invoice
Okay.
has to be paid before that following lesson. Otherwise, I don't show up.
Okay.
Okay. Because we've had
Okay.
people where they don't pay the invoice, and then I
Mm-hmm.
lose money. So,
Okay.
and the options that we have here are, we were training at Oz Park, but because it's cold now, most people just come to my facility. Okay.
Okay.
We
And
do.
where are you?
We're in Logan Square.
Okay.
Yeah. Now we do do
Okay.
home to home still, but it's more expensive now. Okay. Because
Okay.
most of my clients travel to me, so then it's raised the rates for me traveling to a client. Okay.
Right.
If you decided you want us to go to your home, the rate is different. For 6 classes, the rate would be $1,225 as opposed to $950.
Okay.
Okay. Because now it's pulling me away from where I train normally.
Right.
Okay?
Right. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah. Now, let's say Taylor decides to do the 12 and she does 6 because it's cold now at my facility.
Mm-hmm.
Once summer comes around, we train at Oz Park because it's nice.
Okay.
And Oz Park is super busy. So there's lots of distractions. So it's very realistic in terms of the environment.
Mm-hmm.
People usually get concerned about, like, what if the dog listens to me at your building but not in my neighborhood? It doesn't matter with e-collar, as long as you're willing to go higher.
Okay.
Because that's all so like, for me, if my mom said don't do that and she spanked me,
Mm-hmm.
and then I did it again, she just spanked me harder.
Right.
Right. That's as simple as that. Okay.
Right.
So, any other questions?
Anything else for you? Did you want to do 12 or 6 or what?
And you don't have to decide that now.
Okay.
You can talk about it, mull it over. You can go to my website,
Okay.
canineperspectivechicago.com. You go to
Mm-hmm.
Obedience, and it'll tell you the rates. Okay.
Okay.
So I have 3, 6, 9, and 12-week programs. You're in the 6
Okay.
to 12-week range, 6, 9, or 12.
Okay.
Okay, that's your range. If you do 6, I focus on what I know you need. If you do
Okay.
more than 6, we do that, plus we teach more obedience.
Okay.
Okay. And the obedience only really matters if you're going to use it. If you're going to take Nino
Yeah.
hiking, if you're going to take them out to the park for walks and stuff like that, then yes, you want
Mhm.
more obedience. If you're not going to do that
Right.
with Nino, it's kind of not worth the money. Like, you're not going to use it.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just being realistic with you. So,
Yeah.
anything else?
How soon will we start?
Whatever my availability is like. So I'm here until the 28th, and then I'm gone through the 4th for the holiday.
Okay.
So if you contact Maria and you just book real quick, I could see you at least one time before I leave.
Okay.
Otherwise, if our schedules don't sync up, it would be after the 4th of January.
Okay.
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 And then what I can do is I'll have Maria forward you some videos so you can actually already start the process of correcting Nino's behaviors.
Okay.
You don't need the e-collar for that. Okay.
Okay.
I'll send you 3 videos. You watch the videos and they essentially explain how to stop those like barking, jumping, nipping at you stuff within the home. Don't use
Okay.
it outside the home.
Okay.
Okay. And all you need is a towel.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So it's cheap. But you can at least start the process of stopping those behaviors, because I don't want you going so long without having to deal with him being like that. Okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
As far as the e-collar, do we purchase it, or will we just give you the money and you buy it?
You purchase it through Amazon. Maria will send you the information.
Okay.
Okay. And you want to get the model that I recommend you. You'll find cheaper stuff, but you get what you pay for. Okay. So you want to make the investment. These e-collars are waterproof. They last for a really long time. I've had mine for 8 years, no problems. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's an investment, but it's gonna